Welcome back to yet another edition of Uncle Fred Rants. I am your host, and how you doing, Uncle Fred?
Hey man, I'm good. I'm good, man. Great week 2.
Yeah.
Football and win for the Cowboys. So I'm kind of
always a good
good.
time.
I'm kind of
Yeah. We gonna get into that. So, as you said, big win for the Cowboys on the road in SoFi, although it may not have felt like a road game. Despite the fact, close game, Cowboys get it done despite the odds, and even up the win loss column 1-1, and head home. Finally get a home game. But before we jump ahead to that, let's review this game, man. I'll let you take over from here.
All right, man. Look, man. It's the NFL, and there are no such thing as an ugly win. Okay, trying to get the dub. That's the end of the day.
That's it.
Trying to get dub.
That's it.
Would I have liked to see some other things in that game? Yes. Okay. Would I have liked to see some better, defensive play? We'll get into that though. The Cowboys get a 20-17 win over the Los Angeles Chargers in beautiful SoFi Stadium in Los Angeles, California. One of the most beautiful stadiums I've ever seen. I mean, it's just, and I'm guessing that the pictures that they show don't give it justice. So it's probably nicer than how it looked on TV. And as you said, when you look at the games, you see a lot of blue and silver. Of course, they're blue and gold, whatever, but man, it felt like a home game, pretty much.
Yeah.
It felt like a home game, so that kind of had the stuff to be the Los Angeles. Like, man, we're breaking up first home opener in a brand new stadium, and they got as many fans as we do. Has to be, whatever.
Well, they got an uphill battle in the LA market, similar to the Clippers. So
they're the Clippers of the NFL.
Yeah.
Correct, sir.
Yeah.
Correct, sir.
Yeah.
Correct, sir. So it's what it is. But we was able to come in there. Now we kind of had a different game approach than game 1. Okay. And so that's kind of got me a little, with Tampa, we were throwing the ball all over the yard. Threw the ball 58 times, only like 18 runs. So, and I think they went back and looked at some things, looked at some film. Got Zach Martin back. Now that might be
that's a big one.
That might be, you might say, oh man, the scheme here. No, if you got number 70 back in the lineup, there's a lot of runs that you can attempt to do that you couldn't do last week, especially when you got Vita Bay and JPP and then those guys that you block it against. So what I saw in this game is that Cowboys were committed to the running game much more than I've seen in times past. And they actually had went to the two-back system. Deep not getting, he got 16 carries. There's been a story that's been out, the media like to run with narratives and stuff. Man, maybe 20 should be starting instead of 2-1. But there are two different kinds of backs.
Yeah,
certain things you can run with Pollard. He's a little more explosive. He's younger, he's shiftier. And there's certain things you run with Zeke. And so a lot of the action to the outside they were going with Pollard with and little jump passes. And, Pollard ended up with 13 carries, 109 yards. That's what's up right there. That's what's up.
Yeah.
And Zeke's nothing to sneeze at. 16 carries, 71 yards and a touchdown. That's about 5 yards a carry. That's obviously nothing to sneeze at. That was a efficient 23-27 for 237, and a really head scratching pick that he had midway through the first quarter when I thought we could have went up 14-0 and really could have established ourselves. And I guess he saw something because the announcers, because I don't know what he was looking at, but from that point on, he was pretty efficient. Took what they gave him and had a very efficient, workmanlike game as opposed to the 42 for 58 for 4-3 last week and 3 touchdowns. So all in all, from that on that side of the field, I was happy in the approach because what that does, from my perspective, is that allows when you to all of your next opponents, you're like, well, gee, they can run and they can throw it. So you kind of don't know which way we coming. We can be efficient at both levels. So if you run the ball efficiently, passing lane is going to be wide open, and certainly if you run it, if you throw it well, then they'll light that box. Then you'll have a lot of running lanes. So it's almost like we were two different teams between the first game and the second game. Mm-hmm. So I kind of like that on that side of the ball. Now, let's with the good news.
Of course.
And now we got to go to the bad.
But before we get to the bad, let's identify.
Okay.
Let's address a few narratives, so to speak, and then let's identify some positive superlatives, at least on the offensive end, and then we'll get to the defense. But how do you feel about a split back committee type of approach for Dallas throughout the season, with it being effective against a pretty solid Chargers defense this past week?
I know a lot of people and a lot of them. I know I'm usually the old school mentality, but I kind of like the two back set. I kind of like that because it gives the defense two different things, there's going to be some lineups probably that may have both of them on the field at the same time. And I think I saw that a couple times, and I think they had Zeke as an up back, and I think that's when he scored the touchdown. I think it was in the red zone, so because that way you don't know what they're going to do. They could slam it up in the middle, or they could play fake it and hit Pollard coming out of the backfield, who's a very good pass catcher coming out of the backfield. But pretty much that's what he did when he was at Memphis. He was actually more of a James White kind of running back than he was running the thing. As a matter of fact, Henderson, the guy that the Rams have, was the running back, and Pollard was kind of like the played the James White role.
Sure.
Caught more passes than he ran the ball.
Sure.
So I like that. But then he showed that he can run a little bit. So they was able to give him 13 carries, and he got some good yardage out of those carries.
Yeah.
I think he had like a 22, 23-yard gain on one play. That's good money right there. Mm-hmm. You can get more than 4 or 5 on a run. You certainly if you busting out a 20-something yard run, man, that's good eating right there, man. That's good eating. And then I think even Zeke had like a 15-yard run, and it was good to see him get more than that 3 or 4 yards, and he's going down and whatnot. He seems to have a little more burst than I've seen him in the last couple of years. Lost weight, and a little more, concentrating on his conditioning and that sort of thing. But yeah, I like the two back set. I think it gives the defense multiple things to worry about. And in today's NFL, the more you give a team that they got to scheme for, they got to prepare for, the better your chances of winning. You always want to give yourself multiple options. I know the old schools, like, man, the old school Cowboys were like, well, shoot, man, we had Emmett was running 25, 27 times for 130 yards and a couple of touchdowns. That's fine in that NFL, but today's NFL, things are more versatile, and it's really more wide open than it's ever been. So having two backs, I think, is a very good approach, and I was really pleased with what I saw from them and they used that two back set. I think they ran the ball 34 times for 198 yards. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that'll work. That'll get it done right there. That'll get it done every time.
Yeah, man. So with them being successful in that regard, I feel like the approach may have been for this one for Dallas to sort of muck up the game and try to keep it low scoring and win the time of possession battle. Did they win the time of possession battle?
I will tell you.
Okay.
Actually, they did not, but it was real close.
Real close, exactly.
Like 29, 3 to 30 or 57.
Yeah.
So
it's basically, even draw there. So, it feels like you look at the score, you look at the results, kind of the flow of that game, it seemed as though that was Dallas' game plan all along. And they got out there with a win because of it. So, that being said, man, I want to, shift and transition here to the defensive side of the ball. Some positive superlatives on that end. And what you took away, I saw Diggs got his hands on another ball. He's a ball hawk, man. I think, 2 games in, 2 interceptions. You stay on that pace, you're going to lead the league in picks. So,
quiet as kept. Cowboys lead the NFL in takeaway.
There it is. Nice.
Quiet as kept.
Nice.
Quiet as kept. Nice. I think they got 6 turnovers.
Okay.
2 games.
Okay.
And, they was able to pick off Justin Herbert twice. Once in the end zone. I think the kid's name is Curse. No, it was. I think maybe they sound right. I think I meant. Okay. I think I got my guys picked them off in the end zone.
Okay.
And forwarded a scoring drive. The positives on the defense, I like the creativity and how they're. Some of it is by necessity, and how they use Micah Parsons. They used him more on Sunday, almost like a D lineman, edge rusher / D lineman on the end, rushing the passer, and he's plenty big enough. A lot of your defensive ends now are around 250. What is Micah Parsons, like 250?
He's not 250. I can say that. He may be. He'll be on the 230-ish range.
Okay, 230, 240.
He'll be really slim off the edge,
Yeah.
But I do see that they were predominantly using him there and try to get a nice speed rush off the edge. So
he rushed a lot of throws.
He
hurried. Just hurried on a lot of throws.
Yeah. Due to the obvious injury situations, so I get it.
Correct. Sometimes you found money in the cushions. It's good money, man. They found something. Hey, we might use this in other situations. We thought we were just doing something just to get us by, and may have stumbled across something. You know what I mean? Sometimes it goes like that.
Well, I would hope for him. I still think he's going to be best used and best served in space because of his elite speed from sideline to sideline. However, having that matchup versatility with him and being able to use him like a chess piece and move him all over, that's going to be really big for that defense for years to come. So just yet another sign of what Micah Parsons can bring. Go ahead, man.
In addition to that, let me cut you off. In addition to that, the depth that we kind of have at linebacker will allow us to kind of be creative in how do we utilize him. Because you can always bring Jalen Smith and Van Der Esch, and then I think Keanu O'Neal is actually a linebacker / and then we got some other linebackers back there. We still got what's the kid from LSU we just drafted? And I don't think he had some action in the Tampa Bay game. He didn't. But we're kind of deep in linebackers corner trying to make it. Yeah. So you can kind of play with that a little bit with him in certain situations, certain downs and distances, things like that, where you got a bunch of linebackers that you can put on the field. You can put him on the line to do, certain things. But certainly he's going to be quicker than most left tackles or most right tackles. He's going around there quick. What did he time? Like 4.4?
No, Micah Parsons was in the 4.3s.
4.3. Oh.
Yeah.
There you go. I made my point.
He's fast.
Yeah.
Like that kind of fast. Like elite
so a lot of
speed.
Things. I mean, in the hands of a good defensive coordinator. The jury's out what Mike Quinn's going to, Dan Quinn, is going to do. I know what he did with Legion of Boom. I know all that stuff. I got all that down. But a lot of times when you got these, what I call mad scientist defensive guys, your Belichick, your Wade Phillips. Wade Phillips is a mad genius also. You have these guys that you can interchange. They do a lot of things that the offenses aren't expecting. So maybe we're on to something where we can have some things to bring around maybe some matchup problems for some teams going down the road. So that was the positive. Dean that you mentioned earlier, he's solid on that side. And like I said early in the game, cut off Keenan Allen, got right in front of him, picked him off in the first quarter. That led to a touchdown. So yeah, that's good stuff there. And I think Diggs is gonna be a fixture on that side for many years to come. And I think he's just gonna get better. He's just gonna get better. The other side, Anthony Brown is he's going to be that's going to be a work in progress because it's going to be it's starting to be evident to me, TK, that when teams are attacking us, they're going after him more so than they're going after Diggs. I thought they went after Diggs a couple times. They got beat a couple times because the Chargers have a very
he's playing a talented combo, yeah.
Very.
I mean, first 2 weeks.
Keenan Allen.
Yeah.
So they're very, very, very talented. So
you go from
you're gonna shut them out. So.
No, you go from matching up with Mike Evans to matching up with Mike Williams.
Yeah.
Two big body receivers. I mean,
big body.
Yeah. He
225, 230 plus receivers.
Yeah, he got
a 6'3",
6'4", 6'5".
Yeah,
both of them big guys, man. So he tested the cream of the crop.
Keenan Allen is probably one of the best route runners in the NFL.
Easy.
He's the route running savant, as they like to say.
Easy.
He's going to get you on something.
Yeah.
We're going to have some work to do on the other side with Anthony Brown. Didn't realize we had Anthony Brown as long as we did. I was watching a replay of a Cowboys game from 16. It was like, wow, he was playing back in 16? He's still at this level? He's still not be able to cover no better than that? Because usually, as veterans, you kind of learn little nuances and little tricks to get you by, like Terrence Newman used to do. Terrence Newman used to get beat, and then he'd come up with a pick later because he'd find something, something little. But, this guy's been in the league like 5 years, and, I don't know. So maybe Joseph or Nashawn Wright can probably come in there and maybe spell them once we can get Joseph up, because I don't think he's active. And maybe the Eagles game he may be active. Yeah, it's apparent that Brown is the guy that's got a target on his back, and they're coming after him every time they get a chance. So, once we understand that, we're gonna have to start giving him help.
Yeah, you gotta blanket him over the top. So I guess we'll get into next weekend later.
One other thing, one of my things that kind of hurt me a little bit about the defense. Now that they made some plays, never able to make Chargers. They had one punt, it was 4th and 20, and the guy blocked the punt and hit the kicker. They got a first down. Now the other couple of times that they ran out of bounds, they were in field goal range to kick field goal. So in 2 games, they forced 3 punts.
Not great.
No.
Yeah, not great.
Chargers were able to convert a 3rd and 14, a 3rd and 12, a 3rd and 11. You've got to get off the field on those downs positions. You've got to be able to get. And I think maybe their offense approach was probably partnering with, hey, our defense ain't gonna be able to get off the field, so we got to stay on the field. We can't go 3 and out throwing the ball all over the yard. So sometimes the best way to protect our defense, and I think our defense is gonna get better as the season goes along. We've got a lot of young guys, a lot of new guys that kind of, fit into the scheme. A good running game helps, keep the defense fresh, So maybe that was the approach.
Well, yeah, considering you gotta feel like we may not get as much pass rush as we want, so we may not put as much pressure on Herbert as we would like to. So if we can control the time of possession as much as possible, we'll keep ourselves in it. I guess would be the ideal approach, scheme wise. All right, man, give it to us, man. We be ready to hear it. Ready to hear all of the ranting negatives, man. What went wrong with the team?
Well, I mean,
let's
I
get
already
to it.
ranted about the defense.
Yeah,
I think we'll get better at that. But my biggest rant about that game, you do know we BF the the final kick in the game, and that's just some coaching thing. You know how I feel about Cowboys and their organizational lack thereof and preparations and lack thereof. Basically wasted like 40 seconds and settled for a 56-yard field goal. Now they made that field goal, but certainly if you got a minute left and a timeout in your pocket, you can't flub a 40 seconds. And I think he said I couldn't see the clock. With Michael Ferguson, I couldn't see the clock, and Kellen Moore could. The camera crew was blocking his vision from seeing whatever he needed to see and whatnot, and so because they had a first down, and then at like the 30, something like that, and then they ran a running play, which is kind of curious because if you run a running play, those eat up more time and whatnot. Only run those when you're trying to line up the field goal. But you're 50 some odd yards out. You think get 8, 9, 10 yards closer. And they hugged up from that play, didn't run another play, just kind of meandered around until it got down to like 4 seconds. I'm like, gee, they're not going to run another play. And then luckily, Greg, the leg Zerline, was able to boot a 56-yard field goal. So he basically saved our ineptitude on that. And so, and I even text my cousin that lives in LA. I said, sometimes God protects the idiot. And he laughed at that. I said, sometimes God protects the idiot. If people ain't got such stuff coming out the rain, he'll maybe have a tree for them to sit under so they don't get wet. And that's kind of what they did. But that was completely inept. And, there was some talking, some of the radio, some of the talking heads said that if he'd have fooled around and let that clock ran out and they had lost that game, that's almost a powerful offense.
Yeah, but, didn't happen. So, not.
It happened.
Didn't happen.
Yeah, we was able to get by. So, yeah, that was my thing on that. Other than that, I had no problem with it. I thought Kellen Moore called that. Did you guys see? Any of you guys see the play before halftime that they tried to run a little hook and lateral that almost got in for like 75 yards out? Nobody saw y'all didn't see that? Where they ran a little deep dig to CeeDee Lamb, and he cut down the middle of the field and went down the sideline, and right before he got tackled, he lateral it to Zeke, who got bumped out of bounds at the 1 yard line.
Yikes.
Yeah, go Google that. That was a cleverly designed play and very well executed. I would have liked to have seen Zeke when he got down to the 5-yard line, would have kind of like, kind of put his mindset, I'm getting into the end zone, I'm gonna run through somebody to get. And he kind of didn't have that same, because it didn't look like it took that much to knock him out of bounds. He kind of, I don't know what that was, but Google that. But that was a very well designed play. And I'm sure they worked on that a lot of times after practice and whatnot. It was well executed. Wish they could have got one more yard out of it. That would have been nice. You'll probably see that again. So.
Okay. All right. Well, y'all check it out, man. If it's on YouTube, go check it out. So where you at with it, man? Just summarize this game.
I really want to be optimistic. I saw a lot of good things, but there's enough negative things to kind of keep me paused, keep me on the fence. Because, on one of my shows I listen to, they say, if you think the Cowboys are a good team, you're right. If you think the Cowboys are a bad team, you're right. That's kind of the way we've kind of been playing, Played well in the first game, but not well enough to win it, and escaped in the second game. defense has not looked good in either game. And but I mean, the offense has looked good in both games. But I don't know. I don't know where we are. Um, I'd like to think that, as I said before, that we established that we can run the ball and we can throw the ball, and that will just keep us, make other off defensive coordinators, give them headaches trying to determine how we're gonna cover them, because you got two backs that can run in the offensive line, is back intact somewhat. We'll get Lyle Collins back in a couple of weeks, and we'll see where we're at. But the Eagles game that we'll be previewing later, another that's going to tell me a lot about where we are. And the same with that team. I don't know where they are. They had one good game and one not so good game. So I think we may be kind of in the same boat, kind of use this game to kind of figure out exactly where are we, So that's where I am with them, PK. Happy to, don't get me wrong, happy to get a win. Wins are very hard to come by in the NFL. And if you can get one, get them. Ain't no style points for that. I think Mike Tomlin said something about that. Ain't no such thing as style points. You get the dub, you get the dub. So we was able to get the dub and we move on to Philadelphia.
Yep. Yeah, man. That's what it is. That's what it's about. One up, one down for Dallas with the Eagles coming into town on Monday night, the main stage. Yep. That's going to be a ruckus crowd. Yeah, man. Monday night. So, I guess we're going to put a nice ribbon on this one, man. Cowboys 20, Chargers 17. Big win.
Sure.
All right. Before we get out of here, I do want to ask you about just a quick synopsis, what you felt about. Apparently, there was a defensive pass interference controversial call in this game on the Cowboys. Just wanted to get a quick snapshot of what you thought of that. Yeah.
You mean where they thought he was in the grass? Talking about that play?
I believe so. I know that was one of the things that I saw in doing a little background for this particular recap was that
there was a play in the fourth quarter when the Chargers were driving, and that's one of the plays where we had Parsons coming off the edge.
Okay.
And he was able to put an enormous amount of pressure on Justin Herbert, which allowed him to retreat about 15 yards behind the line of scrimmage.
Okay.
And he kind of had a hold of Justin Herbert's shoulder. Justin Herbert's a big boy.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not Drew Brees. Okay, that's a big deal. I think he's like 6'5" and like 245 or something. So that's a big dude.
Yeah.
So I was surprised that they called the end the grass on him on that call. But and I talked to a couple of the Cowboy fans about that. I said that might have been a call that I would have not liked to have gotten if I'm a quarterback. But at the end of the day, I thought that if it wasn't in the grass, that it was grounded. He like 15, 16 yards behind the line of scrimmage. He basically just dumped the ball off. But the way that they call grounding now, it's always got my head scratched because the ones you think they should call, they don't call. And then the ones you like, he does a misread and the guy throws it 40 yards down the field. Sometimes that's intentional grounding. I'm like, wait a minute, he does a misread. He threw the ball away. That's not grounding. And he was in this particular instance, he was under immense pressure. And like I said, he's like 15, 16 yards behind the line of scrimmage. And basically just dumped the ball off. It didn't go to the line of scrimmage, and he was still within the tackle box. So the way I understand it, that should have been grounded. That should have been intentional grounded because it was obvious you were just trying to get rid of the football because you were about to be sacked. So to me, that's technical grounding, but they didn't call that. But I think it's one of those things where we'll just take the penalty. Even though I didn't think that was a good penalty, but that's for in the grass. But it's sort of like poetic justice, maybe. We didn't get the call we should have got, They didn't get they got the wrong call, but what it should have been would have resulted in the same result. Lost it down and almost like the sack of count. So to me it's just like 6-1, half a dozen the other. There are no Charger fans who are upset. But I'm like, that's grounded. Go back and look at that and tell me that ain't grounded. That's grounded. So but anyway.
Okay.
Well, that was also 2 calls for taunting. They took 2 touchdowns off the board.
Yeah, that's becoming a big thing around league wide. The taunting.
Yeah, they're serious about that, TK.
They're
getting real serious about
it. Yeah. I mean, don't really know how to feel about that, but it's just something that they're doing now. So it is what it is, man. Yeah. All right. Now I think I'm ready to put a ribbon on it. Let's get this up, get this out, man. Cowboys get the win. Uncle Fred Rant. Let's sign out, man. We'll be back here. We're gonna spin the block and be back and do our week 2 pick'ems recap as well as week 3 pick'ems. And yeah, man, good stuff coming to the channel. So everybody get involved as usual. It's been love. It's been real. Yep. Get involved, man. Get involved. That being said, man, sub one, love one. As Fred said, I'm out of here, man.